Was the last time Maru lost to a non-Korean player? Was it me or Micah in WSG?
It was actually, yeah. And before that, it was the best of one he played against Cyril at GSL vs. the World, I think.
So
on
this is like
Lost and Found.
Two maps on average per year against foreigners or something at this rate.
Yeah. Could this be the 2 maps for 2020 today, Body?
Maybe. Who knows? That's kind of a crazy way to look at it, though, isn't it?
Yeah, when you put it like that, it makes me tug at my collar a little bit and go, ooh.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good win rate against foreigners.
So this is going to be 3 racks off 2 bases. So it's a very late third CC. It's something which Hero Marine also used against Reynor in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken, of this very event in Europe. And basically, it's just a big 2-base attack, but you do get a third behind it. It's just late. So it's very scary. I don't imagine this goes to barracks number 4 and 5 like Special did. I imagine it is a third CC eventually, but Reynor is not setting himself up for roaches, and roaches would be the super easy shutdown for this. Instead, it's a Bane Nest, it's a lair, and I'm not sure he knows quite yet, but this Ling scouting at the front is going to see no third CC in the wall off, and that's really, really big for him to now say, okay, well, where on earth is your 3CC going to be then? If it's not at the front, in the main, possible, but not often is it in the main, as he catches the Hellion.
Wow. This is an amazing catch from Reynor. Kills all of the Hellions. I mean, obviously, that's just plan. That's just part 1 of the plan here of Reynor, of Maru rather. But still, shutting that down. A great start for Reynor, losing very few units, and he starts a bunch of Lings. I think that Reynor is in a lovely spot at the moment. And as he sees these Marines across the map, I think Reynor knows exactly what's up. So all he needs to do here is hold, be patient, wait on creep, get those Banelings up, and not throw too much away needlessly.
Yeah, I actually love how Reynor's setting up. Pureling Bane hasn't invested into lair tech yet, apart from the Bane speed, which is fine, right? You don't want to be wasting money on a Spire. Hydra Den wouldn't come into play just yet either. He's going really quick. He's just going to die on this. He gets on the tanks. I mean, the Marines kite back. This is a kind of a crazy decision to try and fight. Good target fire kills the Banelings. Oh, I don't like him jumping on this so quickly. And now he's going to lose his Queens as well. What was that?
Yeah, like I said, needed to wait on creep and be patient and not throw too much away. And unfortunately, all of those things happened, Wardy, and Maru still has a lot of Marines alive. Baneling speed is done. 10 Banelings are on the way with a bunch of them morphing at the front line here. Maybe you can get some nice connections on these Marines. Maru pulling back. With the quick load up, he'll be fine here. We'll lose that tank, but not going to lose these Marines, which is the most important part, actually.
Reynor running in is going to push this back a little bit further. We'll have Carapace for the next fight as well, but this was a really bad initial start. I think he just thought he could get rid of the tanks way faster, but the Banelings were so far back, they didn't have speed. Again, that commitment to the fight makes no sense to me, and now it makes Reynor's life so much more difficult, as now he gives Maru the space to run around and be, fancy and all the rest of it. Oh, he just lifts too many Marines up, but he fixes it and does save the tank. There's a big drop from Maru in the bottom right, Maynard.
Certainly is. 4 medevacs worth, 5 medevacs worth. Lots of Marines going down. That hatchery getting quite low. Is Maru going to stick around? The Banelings have arrived. Oh, no!
No way!
Oh, my God.
Oh, he totally believed he could get it. The huge thing there is obviously you commit for it, and if you get it, the Marine losses are fine, but you don't get it. Now maybe you could get a couple transfusions on that base with the Queens, and then maybe you can save it from another drop in the future. What a save that is for Reynor, keeping the 4th base up and running.
I think Maru's eyes start glowing red and the Terminator mode gets activated here when you have a hatchery that low and you just get so close to picking it off, and yet so far he's got a bit of a triple prong here. He's got the drop at the bottom right, looking to try and target that hatchery, but once again, Reynor knows the mind of Maru. He's like, all right, I know you're going to try and get it here. He's consolidated his defenses. The Queens are down there, the Banelings are down there. Maru is trying to drop to the north, drop to the south, and push that high ground at the 3rd base of the Zerg at the same time, but that is pulling back to his base on the low ground. So yeah, nearly an explosion of action there, but both players still taking a bit of a breather. I actually think that Maru is misreading a little bit here. I think he thinks that this is Ling Bane, just massing Bane into Hive.
Because he's seen no Hydras, right? Because Reynor only made like 7 for the Lurkers, and he's hitting them well. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, so he is expecting just a lot of massling Bane here and potentially Ultralisks later on. And at the moment, that is absolutely not the case. Otherwise, Maru would be making tanks. He'd be going into something a little bit different. We've seen Terrans even try and go for Ghosts against Lurkers, which have mixed success. Clem likes to do that. Got a drop here and then naturally sees the Lurker Den now. So now Maru knows what's up. These Liberators getting quite a few drones over here.
10 workers from the drop and Liberators combined. The Spore Crawlers will be finishing up in the bottom right, and Liberators stay around as long as possible, go to the third base instead. Spore has to relocate, but the Queens are there. Now a big drop into the main, and Reynor not ready for this at all. And he's got a lot of units on the other side of the map as well, so this is going to be a bit of a trade out in bases here. Abducting in the first siege tank as Banes are going to roll into this mineral line, or are they? They just go for the Marines. Wow, he doesn't get as many SCVs as he could have done, and I really feel for the workers he's losing. He could have done with that as he loses his hive. Hydrogen, infestation pit. So much tech has just been lost.
Yeah, it's safe to say that the trades have gone way better for the Terran here. He's picked off all of the tech of the Zerg. He's really reset the tech of the Zerg. Actually, the Lurker Den, the only thing that survives here. No spawning pool, no hive. That means no lair. He's got no Hydra Den. I mean, this is just devastating for Reynor. He can pretty much just make drones and Lurkers with whatever remains. Can he at least get some of this bio? The splits from Maru on these medevacs off the parasitic bombs. Only going to lose potentially one medevac or two here, but most of the bio survives.
Well.
Now, Raider's going to try and make something happen here, even a drone coming along for, I guess, a cheer squad for those Lings and Banelings as they try and do... I like the bait in the Widowmine. It's just the one, though. There we go. Good stuff from Rainer. Oh, retarget.
Wow.
Cute stuff there from Maru. The Siege Tanks into the middle of the pack. He does get the planetary, so that is something for Reynor. And he does have a fair bit of money in the bank, so he can afford to do things like this.
Yeah, you need to do things like this. You need to shut down, bases of the Terran play. If you let the Terran play mine without any consequence, you're going to be in trouble when it comes to kind of the later stages. So shutting that down and basically leaving this as 4 base versus 4 to 5-ish base of Reynor, then, this is okay. Reynor does have money in the bank, like you mentioned, so you can afford that. I fear that he didn't kill any SCVs, though, right? And generally, it's very easy to replace the command centers, considering Maru has one already floating over and then 2 building. So I would just like to see a few SCV kills with that as well. And that kind of comes back to my same ideas of the fight on the third base. Just getting the SCVs is what can really, really make sure the Terran is left certain after these engagements.
You're absolutely right. And it feels like as long as the Terran's got 4 bases and 70 SCVs, they can really keep that macro machine humming along. Some Hydras getting a little bit too deep there. Attack over this base seems to be cleaned up for the most part. Some Lings still alive, though, picking up those SCVs.
Yeah,
and at the high ground, the Lurker's starting to advance here for Reynor, grabbing into the tanks, grabbing the Liberators as well with the Vipers.
Hey, I like this. These Lurkers up here are in range of the planetary forest, so they're just going to keep on pressuring. The Ghost, though, are lining up from the bottom side, Maynard. Once he has a scan, he'll be ready to snipe. He's dropping on the other side. He's been looking for this base all game. He finally gets it, but at a cost of quite a bit of bio. The Ghost ran into Lurkers, and a couple of them went down already. He cannot afford to be losing them. He gets abducted. Loses the higher energy Ghost.
Yeah, that's super worth it for Reynor to grab those Ghosts there. I'm with you, man. That high ground position, that ranged upgrade for the Lurker, really doing wonders for Reynor at the moment. He's finding that counter damage. God, he's so good at surviving, and not only surviving, but making the right decisions to get him into that late game. He really is just so good at ZVT late game. Yeah. Wow. Lots of Lings here for Reynor, as is tradition. The Lurkers pressuring that third base. Snipes coming down from the Ghost. They abduct, interrupting there. And EMP on the Vipers. Most of the Vipers still got a bit of juice in them, but not enough to really be useful anymore. The Lurkers are still so nice here for the Zerg, causing the Terran so much pressure here. Even getting a little bit closer to the infrastructure. He's getting on top of the tanks with the Lings. He's closing the distance 40. But EMP is keeping those Vipers at bay. It looks like the Vipers are finally out of energy.
Yeah, I like it, though, for Reynor, because, again, this is what he does. He uses these Lurkers very aggressively to take positions, deny. He's going in for a fight. Wow. He believes he can tell the tanks. I don't like that decision. He wasn't expecting this amount of bio to be here, and that's a very expensive misread from Reynor, costing him almost all of those Lurkers.
Yeah, that was very expensive indeed. You said he had to spend a whole bunch of money actually just remaking Banelings, Lings, and Hydras here, because he knows that after a fight like that, a player that still has an army left over is going to try and make something happen with said army. So Reynor on the back foot a little bit. He's just spent a lot of his cash, and that means that he doesn't have a ton of Lurkers anymore. He's only got 5 on the map at the moment. Not near that. I think he had like 10 at one point in this game. So this is really a clash of late game mastery, and I'm already feeling excited. You cannot wipe the smile off my dial right now, Woody. No,
really awesome game so far. Loving this. Reynor's got money again. Oh, this is TVZ. This is what we love, Maynard.
It is indeed. Losing a hatchery to the north side, trying to answer back with a pick off of his own or any econ damage whatsoever. Not really finding much there at all. The army of Maru is not too far away. Bottom right actually looks very vulnerable to a big flood of Lings or a big flood of a ground army.
Yeah. It's going to be, the question of, does Maru leave enough at home? And at the same time, Reynor dives, and he gets, good Baneling connections, right? Banelin's hitting multiple units is generally fine. This Orbital has to lift up again. The Ghosts getting abducted in. I mean, those Ghosts are expensive too, right? So yes, they land in EMPs, but not before a good few go down. And it's those Ghost abducts, which I really think is kind of turning the tide more than anything. Good base denial down here, of course, and even a couple Widow Mines still running into this. And this time, Reynor really preserves a lot of the Lurkers he used in this fight. And that makes a difference as well in terms of what he rebuilds. Look at Maru's money, Reynor. He's not doing great in the bank. Reynor's maxed out. Money just goes still.
I was about to mention exactly that. I feel like that's the most important thing right now is that that bank that I was mentioning for Terran when he was maxed out has gone away right now. He's just used it to try and get close to high supply again. And at the moment, he is being dwarfed by the supply of the Zerg because those fights, those last couple engagements up near the I guess the 9 o'clock base or the 9:30 base of Maru and the southern base, his third base in low ground, actually both sides of those fights went well for Reynor. And he's still got so much army left over. He's still amassing that bank because he's maxed out. And he's going to try for this planetary one more time, bring the Lurkers along with the Banelings here. More Lurkers on the high ground to the right as well. He is absolutely everywhere and really just choke-holding Maru right now.
Oh, the Baneling's going to get so many of the SCVs as well. And Maru cannot afford to lose economy when he isn't maxed out. This is going to be an issue for Maru because now he loses this space. He's on 48 workers and he's on okay-ish army supply, but if he takes one fight now, he can't really rebuild, whereas Reynor still can. Love those Lurkers flanking in from the side, and that's what Reynor does so well with this composition, to always try and make these fights as good as possible.
Yeah, it feels like we're watching one of those moments where a player is up against a style that he's super not used to. I very much doubt there's anyone playing Lurker late game ZVT against Maru on the Korean ladder when he practices, or even in his team house against players like Rogue, against anyone there, and he practices over in his team house or on the ladder. This is just something that Reynor is such a god at, as it really feels like he's made the style his own, and Maru is just struggling to win these engagements or handle these Lurker attacks.
Yeah, he really is. And this base now in orbital, he's going to burrow up. And that's a lot of dead SCVs potentially. They just dodge away, and even still, 8 go down. And again, at this point, a couple Lurkers are very expendable for Maru. So these are losses which he can absolutely absorb and justify. Yeah, 4 Lurkers sounds like a lot, but you get 9 SCVs. You trade out with a bit of bio at the end as well. I mean, for Reynor, that's really not too difficult to rebuild from. And again, it's denying that top side base number 6 of Maru. And that's really going to be the breaking point. If Maru never gets that up, I mean, Reynor has the entire map, apart from, funnily enough, his own main base, it feels like. Here we go, another big fight. Lurkers sieging up aggressively. The Viper's coming through and abducting the Ghosts, again, looking for the value in these trades.
I think one of the things that didn't help Reynor out in that engagement is he had no Banelings in that attack, or at least very few Banelings. So that big cluster of bio traded very nicely against the Ling Hydra, and even the Lurkers couldn't actually splash mode their way through that amount of bio and through that position. And this is tough for a position for Maru to hold. There's no planetary here anymore. That's the orbital from the main base, Wardy. Yep. So that's very, very tough for Maru to defend while defending that third and the low ground at the same time.
Yep. I'm actually very surprised that these 2 orbitals on the screen right there, those weren't lifted and placed in that base instead, because it felt like that maybe could have been the play. I guess he had a planetary up there and then it got denied again. They were already orbitals, but I mean, that's where Maru's at. He can't really afford to build another command center right now. He has to just try and defend with orbitals, as these Lings will give themselves up to break this position, so Maru will lose this bottom side mining base as well for the moment. He just does not have the numbers to stick around and defend this position.
Yeah, and he can't really split his army up too much. He's going to go for some nuke harassment here while trying to hold at this orbital. If he can get all these Lurkers and the nuke gets a tasty connection, this might actually swing over into Maru's favor. Good reaction there from Reynor, pulls everything away.
Yeah, kills the spine crawler, but that's about it as the Ghost reveals itself, so Reynor might be able to catch that as well. Finally, Maru built this nuke a long time ago, may not, but he's been under so much pressure. He's only just now been able to set it off. And then Reynor deals with it masterfully while, again, maybe not taking the best fight on the left-hand side there, but still is just trading out. I got to say, I mentioned it was like a 12,000 resource loss difference. Now it's only a 14k difference, as that is a lot of Banelings. But my point is that they've been trading a bit more evenly than they did in the earlier stages of the game. So credit to Reynor for that.
I do love the decision from Reynor to just mass Banelings right now. There are only a handful of Widow Mines for Maru, and most of them are actually not here. In come the Banelings from both sides, blinding clouds of attacks as well. This is the time for Reynor to just crash through what remains of Maru. I think the answer is yes. And he pushes through the space, kills so many SCVs. The orbital does survive for Maru, and his army supply still somehow at a decent enough number. It does feel like a matter of time, though. He's bled so dry.
Yeah, there's no way you can hold on another fight like that one, right? It's getting worse and worse for him every time they do fight, and I do love the decision, like you said, to go for all of the banelings instead of more and more lurkers, because it feels like right now there's so many ghosts for Maru. They don't do great against Banes. They're designed to help against the lurkers and all the rest of it, so this switch back from Reynor into more of a mid-game composition might just be the killing blow, and Maru can't afford to trade with this. These few drones get away, fortunately. As here we go, Reynor's already set for another round. There's a plant there, he kills some drones. The MP's on all of the Vipers, though, so no blinding clouds this time around, Maynard. Does that make the difference?
I mean, there is a lot of tankiness in this army. The Ghost's got a lot of hit points. The tanks are still alive. They're firing back. He's losing more SCVs, though, in the orbital. Will it go down this time? Reynor's trying to capitalize this moment. The Baneling's still alive, and yes! There it is. Reynor will crash through.